Hi, I'm Lianna Carrera.
And I am Carolina Gutierrez.
And you're watching Behind the Scenes of the Q Agenda. So thank you so much for joining me on this Pride Month. We're so excited to have Pride, a place where we can all gather and be ourselves. And that's really awesome. We're looking forward to Pride Month. In the vein of that kind of conversation, I'm so grateful for you for being vulnerable with me today.
Absolutely.
We wanted to talk about this idea of community and why there seems to be such a rift between older lesbians and accepting young trans women at the table. And I know that this is an explosive conversation potentially, and there's feelings on both sides of this that are insane. And by both sides, I mean one side of this. And but I think it's important for us to talk about it as a community and have these hard conversations. So for those of you who don't know, should I tell them?
Please.
There's something called a TERF in the lesbian community, and that's called trans exclusionary feminists, right? Trans exclusionary. These TERFs, either way.
Yes.
TERFs really do believe that trans women are not women and therefore should not be in spaces for lesbians or be taking over women's spaces as they see it.
Yeah.
So, you know, these people, I know there's some radical TERFs who are like saying things like they're afraid that, you know, trans women are just men trying to take their rights and are very protective of their female spaces because they work so hard to have them. There's people who are a little more aggressive about that. And then I think back to like my little overweight lesbian PE teachers who are good people in that they raised us, my generation, to be able to come out and be who we are. And they're struggling, and I don't know why. And I want to help them.
Well, let's help them.
Yeah. So what do you say to TERFs who are saying like you could never, you don't know what it's like to be a woman because you were raised as a man or you were raised, you know, that way, and therefore the dynamics are different and you can't possibly know what it's like to be born a woman?
Okay, well, let's start with the fact that radical feminism would not exist if you cannot accept other femme or women that don't necessarily fall under your specific categories. And the reason why I say this is because at the end of the day, women come in all shapes, sizes. There are women that can reproduce, there are women that cannot reproduce, there are women that are born with penises, there are women that are born with vaginas, there's intersex, there's all types of variations. So we have to, for a moment, think about that and realize that there is not one fit for all when it comes to women. There are so many different types of people that can fall into that category.
It's something that strikes me from what you said is, you know, oftentimes a woman who has surgery, maybe she has cancer and has her breasts removed, she's suddenly any less of a woman.
Exactly.
She's not. So I don't buy that it's related to our parts, right?
Thank you.
And, you know, just to be vulnerable is the word of the day. I consider myself a cis lesbian, but I've had top surgery. And the world, I don't understand why I'm considered more of something. If, you know what I mean? Like, why am I more accepted as a woman than, I mean, frankly, you are?
Because we're all human beings at the end of the day. We're all people, we all deserve to be accepted, to be valued, to be respected, to be loved. And it doesn't matter where you fit into those categories. At the end of the day, let's bring it back to humanity. And if I consider myself a woman, I'm presenting myself as one, I'm living my life as one, then I'm not here as the enemy. I'm not here to try to take anyone's spot. There are enough spaces in the world for all of us. We should be helping each other out instead of trying to push people out. It's just so counterproductive.
Yeah, I agree that there's always room to build the table longer, right? What about the fact that I feel like there's some cred, if you will, and just because you were, you know, assigned male at birth, I feel like there's still some credibility that in your brain and in your body and in your heart, you may have been being socialized as boy, but you're still having to deal with, you're almost having to deal with being socialized as male, and then you're still experiencing life through the lens of being a female in a way.
Exactly. And I can take it back to an intersex person. Someone that, for example, was born with internal female organs, but external male organs, that was, once again, brought up as a boy, but realized, wait a minute, maybe this was not really who I wanted to be, because I feel like I am a woman, and then they realize, wait a minute, you actually also have ovaries inside of your body. Oh, so what, is that person now more of a woman? Even though they were brought up as a boy, they were taught that, they were assigned male at birth. So like I said, there's so many variations.
And what do
that you cannot just exclude or include people and think that just because you weren't born specifically like this, that all of a sudden it's like going back to being black and white. Before, if you were black, you were not allowed to go to certain spaces, right? And you were excluded. But at the end of the day, we're all human. We understand that, and we're fixing that.
What do you say, what should we say, I'd rather say, to the older lesbians who say, we've worked so hard for women's spaces, for men to not be a part of our spaces, that they feel almost like they're martyring themselves by saying, you can't come in and take over our space.
Because we're not men, plain and simple.
Yeah, I love that. All right, well, thank you again for being involved. I love this. Let's do this more often, these lovely conversations. Thank you at home, too, for showing us grace as we work through our own thoughts in this conversation. And check out Q Agenda, and we'll see you next time on LATV.